would, and if so, why would Ronald Reagan endorse you? Would Ronald Reagan endorse you, and if so, why?
Absolutely. Ronald Reagan would look at the issues that are being debated right here and say, one, we're going to win in Iraq, and I'm not going to walk out of Iraq until we win in Iraq. Ronald Reagan would say lower taxes. Ronald Reagan would say lower spending. Ronald Reagan is pro-life. He'd also say, I want to have an amendment for marriage to protect marriage. Ronald Reagan would say, as I do, that Washington is broken. And like Ronald Reagan, I'd go to Washington as an outsider, not owing favors, not lobbyists on every elbow. I'd be able to be the independent outsider that Ronald Reagan was, and he brought change to Washington. Ronald Reagan would say, yeah, let's drill in Anwar. Ronald Reagan would say, no way are we going to have amnesty again. Ronald Reagan saw it. It didn't work. Let's not do it again. Ronald Reagan would say no to a 50-cent per gallon charge on Americans for energy that the rest of the world doesn't have to pay. Ronald Reagan would have said absolutely no way to McCain-Feingold. I'd be with Ronald Reagan. This party, it has a choice. And then what the heart and the soul of this party is going to be, and it's going to have to be in the house that Ronald Reagan built.
Your campaigns wanted this tight, so let's keep it tight. Senator McCain, would Ronald Reagan endorse you?
Ronald Reagan would not approve of someone who changes their positions depending on what the year is. Ronald Reagan came with an unshakable set of principles. And there were many times, like when he had to deploy the Pershing cruise missile to Europe, and there were hundreds of thousands of demonstrators against it, he stood with it. Ronald Reagan had a deal in Reykjavik that everybody wanted him to take, but he stuck with his principles. I think he knows that I stick with my principles. I put my political career on the line because I knew what would happen if we failed in Iraq. I hope that the experience I had serving as a foot soldier in his revolution would make him proud for me to continue that legacy of sticking to principle and doing what you believe in, no matter what.
Congressman Paul?
I supported Ronald Reagan in 1976, and there were only 4 members of Congress that did. Also in 1980, Ronald Reagan came and campaigned for me in 1978. I'm not sure exactly what he would do right now, but I do know that he was very sympathetic to the gold standard, and he told me personally that no great nation that went off the gold standard ever remained great. And he was very, very serious about that. So he had a sound understanding about monetary policy. And for that reason, I would say look to Ronald Reagan's ideas on money, because he, too, was concerned about runaway inflation and what it does to a country when you ruin the currency. And that's what's happening today. The dollar is going down, and our country is going to be on the ropes if we don't reverse that trend.
Governor Huckabee?
I think it would be incredibly presumptuous and even arrogant for me to try to suggest what Ronald Reagan would do, that he would endorse any of us against the others. Let me just say this. I'm not going to pretend he would endorse me. I wish he would. I'd love that. But I endorse him. And I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't just that his specific policies, but Ronald Reagan was something more than just a policy wonk. He was a man who loved this country, and he inspired this country to believe in itself again. What made Ronald Reagan a great president was not just the intricacies of his policies, though they were good policies. It was that he loved America and saw it as a good nation and a great nation because of the greatness of his people. And if we can recapture that, that's when we recapture the Reagan spirit. It's that spirit that has a can-do attitude about America's future and that makes us love our country, whether we're Democrats or Republicans. And that's what I believe Ronald Reagan did. He brought this country back together and made us believe in ourselves. And whether he believes in us, I hope we still believe in those things which made him a great leader and a great American.
Gentlemen, good luck to you all. Thank you very much for attending this debate tonight. And that concludes